Hello, I hope you're well. The day I'm filming this is a Friday, and I've just got back from Pilates class, so I feel very, very zen, actually. So I'll try not to fall asleep whilst I am creating this video for you, and hopefully you won't be falling asleep watching it either. But I thought I'd jump on and create a video for you that is about creating videos, because Karen, the lovely Karen, who runs a hairdressing salon in the heart of Oldham on, I think it's Yorkshire Street, called Hair Lounge, popped a really good question slash statement in the group earlier this week, which I thought was very interesting, actually. And there's sort of like two aspects to her post, the first of which was to do with filming and how do you feel like less of an idiot when you're filming, and sort of key things to really think about when looking to film. And the second question was around, well, what type of content would people be interested in with regards to her hairdressing salon. So in this particular video, I'm addressing the first part of that. But if you do have any key ideas for Karen in terms of the sort of thing that you'd want to see from a hairdressing salon, then go back to that post after you've watched this video and drop us some ideas in there, because that's the whole point of this group, or one of the many points of this group, is that we share ideas amongst each other. You know, I know a lot when it comes to social media and advertising and marketing, but I don't know everything. But don't tell my husband that, because I like to tell him pretty much every day that I know everything and that I'm always right, which of course I am. So getting back to this video, I thought that I would share I think I've got 6 tips. Yeah, my 6 tips really for you if you are thinking about creating video content for your business page. Now, I've said it before, I will continue to say it again, and I am going to say it again in a video in the next couple of weeks when I start to talk about the social media trends that you should be looking out for and considering for 2019. But the top thing is video. Video isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So it really, what I would encourage you to do is to try and embrace video content when it comes to your social media platforms for your business. Now, video content works really well here in Facebook and also on Instagram. And I'm going to come on to talk about the different sort of like fields of video a little bit later on in my points. But if you are thinking about video, that's a good thing. But you need to be doing more than just thinking, I think, now when it comes to video. It's about doing. And so hopefully the points that I've got here will help you get to that action stage, that doing stage, where you can start to really see the positive effects of doing video. So firstly, obviously, it appeases the algorithm gods that I talk a lot about. So if you do video content, then that will help your reach and your visibility. But the second thing, away from this sort of like the technical aspect really, is that you can get so much. You get so much from doing a video. You get so much, and your viewer and your followers and your prospective customers and your loyal customers, they get a lot from you doing a video as well. So that, the world of video is fantastic. You can do so much, and neither do you actually have to have super duper equipment to do it effectively either. But let me get into the 6 points, and feel free to take notes as we go along. So my first point when it comes to creating good quality videos for your social media platform is planning. Planning is essential. There's no point you sort of jumping online and creating a film just for film's sake, just for content's sake, because it'll mean nothing. It's just stuff. And we all know, we see it all the time in our own feeds, don't we? There's a lot of stuff on social media. So you have to make it mean something. So it has to go back to your purpose. Why are you doing it? That then goes back to, well, what is your brand about? What are your values about? What is it that you think by doing the video, your end user, viewer, consumer will take from it? How is it going to benefit them? Not so much you in the first instance. So that, I mean, that is always key, to think of why am I doing that. That's a standard tip for all content that you post. Why am I posting it? How do I want the person who's viewing it or reading it to feel once they've watched it or read my post? What do I want them to do with that after they've done it as well? So just have that in mind really before you just sort of plonk yourself in front of the camera and hit the record button and then start talking. So it's got to have a purpose. I would also say within the planning sort of like tip, it's, you know your content best because you are the expert in that area. So I would also say that when you are creating the video, don't be afraid of actually using notes, because you know so much. It's pretty easy for you to go off on a tangent, like I tend to do. So don't be afraid of using notes. You don't have to appear like you are a professional newsreader or television presenter. You are just you. I am just me. And I think that it's perfectly fine to make notes. So whether that's bullet points or whether you write out a script, it's entirely up to you. And it's also perfectly fine to refer to them, as I am doing here for you today. So let your notes be your safety blanket as well. So then you remove that added pressure of thinking, right, well, not only do I have to create a video, but I've also got to remember every single word and every single tip and every single aspect of what it is that I want to be able to share with my end viewer. Just remove that. You can control that. So remove that bit of pressure and just make notes. So it's perfectly fine. So that's planning. So planning is about, well, what's my purpose? What's my point of actually creating the video in the first place? And secondly, yes, you know a lot about your own business and your area of expertise, but just write some notes, a bit of a framework that helps to keep the video succinct and also gets across the key points that you want to be able to share with your viewer. The second tip is about filming, the filming location, that is. So again, I've mentioned when you start to film, there is this weird sort of pressure that comes out of nowhere and lands on your shoulder with the word, let's create a film. So again, another thing that you can control is the setting. So pick somewhere to film that you really feel comfortable with. Somewhere that you feel very much at home, at ease. You know the environment around you. You can control the lighting, you can control the sound. Speaking of which, I've got my phone on my desk, so I hope it doesn't buzz. I should have thrown it outside, which I will do now. Yes, so it's about trying to control all of those controllables to an extent. So yeah, pick somewhere nice. So here I tend to do my videos in my home office. It's an environment that I feel comfortable with. I'm familiar with the space. I know how to work the lighting. You know, I love the fact that I've got my plants around me. It makes me feel very calm. And hopefully that comes across in terms of the style and the vibe of video that I'm creating for you. So Karen, particularly for yourself, you might want to do it in the salon downstairs just before opening time, or you might want to go upstairs where you used to have your beauty section, or your home office. But just find somewhere, I think, that first of all, where your brother Guy isn't going to bug you, but secondly, where you really do feel familiar. And if you are talking about things to do with the salon, with hairstyles, with techniques, with colouring, with styling, whatever it might be, there's no better place than actually in that environment where you do what you do really well. That's what I think anyway. So, and you've got a beautiful salon anyway, and you always have great window displays as well. Side point. Didn't write that in my notes, but I really should stick to my notes, but that just popped into my head. Yeah, so just pick an environment, pick a setting where you feel really comfortable, that's pertinent to you, and that will help you be the best person you can be when you're on camera. I would also say another pro tip is to get really good, make sure that where you're filming has very good Wi-Fi as well. You don't want to be halfway through a video, particularly when you're doing it live, and then the signal is poor. P.S. I've done that before, so learn from my mistakes. or altogether it just sort of like cuts out. So yeah, make sure you've got really good Wi-Fi and make sure you've got really good lighting. So try and face your camera sort of like in front of a window where you've got natural light, or like today, for instance, it's dark, it's the afternoon, but I'm actually using a box light that has been kindly lent to me by somebody's husband here in the group. So thank you, Ali. So yeah, you can create a very easy setup. I've got, as I say, I've got a box light. You can have ring lights, but just play around with the settings. And even before you hit that record button, just set up your video and do a few prep runs ahead of time. Open up the screen, take a look at the lighting, make sure that it works for you, you're comfortable, doesn't feel like you're in a sauna as the light is sort of like beaming into your face. With a ring light or with a box light, you can control the lighting, which is good. Sometimes when you're sat in front of a window, you can't quite control not that I know anyone who can. You can't control the lighting naturally as such. So if you want to be able to really make sure that you don't have to worry about suddenly the clouds coming over and you losing natural light, then just use a studio light instead. My third tip is to do with imagining that you are only actually talking to one person. Now, it freaks me out to think, and maybe you feel the same way, it would totally freak me out to think that there are lots of people watching this video at any given time, because then my mind would be all over the shop and I can't control that thought. For me personally, really adds to the pressure of creating a video. So I like to think of just one person, and when I film as though I'm talking to that one person. Now I have a person in mind. I'm not going to share that person who that is, because I don't want them to feel self-conscious. I have one person in particular in mind. And that person really makes me feel at ease, and they make me feel smiley as well, and I just feel comfortable. So I imagine that that's the person that sat in front of me, and that this laptop where I'm filming today, or my phone that I usually film on, isn't actually there, and it actually is them instead. Or I'm doing a video call to that particular person. And that for me really works, because it brings that vastness, that bigness isn't even a word, that sentiment of doing something big and out of your comfort zone. For me, that brings that right down, and it really does help to sort of steady me, focus my mind, and feel good about what it is that I'm sharing with you, essentially. So yeah, try and just keep it simple. Just pick one person that you have in mind and just talk to them, just as you would do if they were to come into your shop, your studio, your salon, wherever it is. Just pick that one person. And I also think it makes everything feel that bit more personal as well. So yeah, that's my third tip. Now, I've got a pro tip coming up as well. So when you are filming your videos, I would also advise that you film them in landscape format and not portrait format, because when you do it in landscape format, as I am doing now, you fill the entire screen around you, whereas when you film in portrait format, there are usually sort of like two black rectangular boxes either side of the video, so aesthetically it looks a bit off, but also it just, and doing it in landscape format makes it look so much more, I feel as though it just adds a little bit of professionalism, and it looks better on screen, and you can get pretty plants in the background and things like that. You can create a better setting, I think, as well, backdrop, if you create it in landscape format. And remember, when people are viewing it on on their phones, then landscape format works particularly well. So my fourth tip in terms of helping you to create the best video that you can do for your small business here on social is all to do with the different types of video that you can create. So there are mainly at the moment, there are 3 different types of video that you can create. Now I'm going to talk about them in sort of like order of ease, I suppose. So the first one, so the easiest as in my point of view, the easiest type of video that you can do is via Instagram stories. Yes, I know you can create them on Facebook as well, but for me, the formatting and the tools and the features within Facebook stories is, well, pants. And it's so much better, so much more versatile, so much more flexible and creative within Instagram. So creating Instagram stories is an ideal way to dip your toe in the water when it comes to creating video content. Why? Because they only last 15 seconds tops, and you can also pre-record them as such. So when you're actually capturing the story, the video story, it plays it back to you immediately. And if you don't like it, well, you can just bin it and do it again. So you get that sort of like practice element within it. And as I say, the length of those particular videos are only ever 15 second, or in 15-second chunks. So you can obviously do lots of mini videos if you wanted to, that's fine. But each mini video, or chapter as I like to call it, only lasts 15 seconds. So talking in front of a camera for 15 seconds, I feel as though that's a better way than sitting in front of your camera and trying to talk for 20 minutes live. Pressure. So if you want to try and become more and more comfortable with video, I'd recommend you start with stories, Instagram stories, and take it up a notch from there. The next notch up from Instagram stories is pre-recorded video, which is what I'm doing here today. So that's where you can record your film, your content ahead of time, and then you have the option to be able to edit that and then upload it at a time that suits you. Or you can practice multiple times, watch it back, ditch them, keep them. It's entirely up to you. But again, you've got a little bit more control when you do a pre-recorded video. The top level of video content, and the one that the algorithms give you the most points, the ranking points for, is live. Without a shadow of a doubt, they want you to do more live. They want you to be spontaneous. They want you to bring people into your world and what it is that you're doing at that particular time, and, as I say, experiencing and bring that to them. But, when you do live, it is exactly it is exactly what it says on the tin. It is live. However, I do want you to remember that when you create a live video, even though you'll have people potentially watching you when you're live, when you finish doing your live, you get asked if you want to be able to save that video and post it to your page. So even after you've done the live and you think, oh, that was awful, really don't want that out there in the public sphere, you are able to delete that video. You don't have to post it. Neither does it post it for you automatically. So I just wanted to make that clear, because I think sometimes the unknowns of doing a live put people off from doing lives in the first place. So when you actually go to do a live on Facebook, for instance, it opens the camera for you, and then it will ask you if you're ready to go live. And only then it will sort of like transmit your video. And even then you get a little countdown from sort of like 3, 2, 1, and then you're sort of like there. So you've got a couple of seconds to really just fine tune your vibe really before you go live. And then, as I say, once you're live, great, you can hopefully get some interaction with people watching you there and then. And then once you've finished, you get asked, you're prompted, do you want to post this video to your page? Yay or nay? And at that point, you can then decide whether you will or you won't. So I just wanted to make those sort of like steps clear for you, because again, unless you go live, sometimes, and I thought the same just before I did my first live. It was a case of, well, if I go live, does it mean I stop transmitting straight away? Will I have time to prep? What should I do? Where should I look? All of those things. So yeah, I just wanted to be able to share my experience of doing a live with you, and just let you know those little things that come before and after, really. And just reassure you again that you don't, even once you've done it, you don't have to post it. You can delete it. And the few people that watched it, or hopefully the many people that watched it, won't mind that it's not there afterwards. So those were the 3 different types, different levels of video content that you can experience. So as I say, you can start with Instagram stories, 15 seconds long, very quick. Then you can move up to pre-recorded, where you can practice. You can make a lot more notes. You can really have a lot more positive structure around it. And then you've got the top tier video content, which is to go live. The algorithm rewards you more so for doing live than any of the other 2. But yeah, those are your 3 options. But as I say, start with Instagram stories, then work your way up. Or you can do what Angela, and hopefully Angela will leave a comment after she's watched this video here in the group. Angela, when I first talked to Angela about doing videos and gave that tip for doing stories, first of all, she just went straight into doing lives. But for me and Angela, I love the fact that you now do them daily. You've found a rhythm. You have found your zone within lives. You know the key talking points that you have, and to me, as a viewer, it feels as though you're very comfortable in front of the camera. And I love seeing your personality, and I also like getting my weather update from you as well. So if you haven't already, I totally recommend that you hop on over to Angela's page, which is Professional Workwear by Stitches R Us. And watch a couple of her lives for some inspiration. They're very short, they're very to the point, but you can really get a feel for her personality, and she balances it well with great content, really. I don't want to give too much away. You go away and you watch those in your own time. My 5th point is about telling a story. So when you start to create your video, you know why you want to do it. You found the best setting. You know that you're talking to that one person, you've remembered who that is, and then you've decided whether or not you're doing a story, a recorded or a live. Now it's about making sure that the content itself has a story behind it. So you want to make sure that you've got people's attention to begin with. Whatever it is that you're talking about, is that about to solve a problem, an issue, a concern, a worry, that whoever it is that's consuming it has. Then you want to make sure that your content is interesting. Now, I'm not saying that you put on a song and dance, etc., but it's about making sure as well that I think it sometimes has something to do with like tone of voice, and making sure you've got this really nice musical sort of like sound to your voice. It's not monotone like this all the time, and that potentially you have an interesting backdrop. Potentially you use props, tools. If you're in a salon, Karen, you've got an array of tools that you could use, that you have at your disposal, but it will make everything that bit more interesting, you see. The next thing is you've got to have desire. So you've got to be able to give that person who's watching it a reason to buy into you. So that's really where you're creating and showcasing your expertise, your knowledge, your passion, so that they think, yeah, that person, for instance, Karen, is the type of hairdressing stylist that I want and that I trust in order to help create and do something with my Barnet as such. But you can get that across really well on video. And my final tip, when within that sort of like creating that all-rounded story, is about, the final point is action. So when they've watched your video, what do you want them to do with it? Do you want them to like it, share it, comment? Do you want them to get in touch? Do you want them to order? Do you want them to book? But just don't forget to tell them what it is that you want them to do with the knowledge that you are sharing, or the content that you're sharing, or the emotions, or whatever it is that you're doing. What do you want them to do with it? What's your key action point? And then my final tip, and it's a really quick one, is personality. So just be you. Accept you for who you are and roll with it, because you can't change who you are, and you are successful because of you. Now, yes, and again, it's something that I talk about a lot. We all have competitors. You and I have competitors, or they surround us. But that's okay, because you and I will attract a certain type of person, and we won't attract others. We'll detract others, and that's okay. You attract those people that are attracted to your vibe. And those that aren't, that's okay. They may well find that one of your competitors is more suitable, and they can grow their relationship there, and that's okay. But just try to be you. And I think that really speaks volumes for us as small business owners. We are our own best asset. People buy from people. People buy from us for a reason. So when we get in front of the camera, try not to forget that, and instead try to bring that to the forefront, because that will be a really strong asset, and that will be a thread that will help pull you through creating a video and filming a video as well. And embrace you, because you're brilliant, and your customers and your followers also think you're brilliant. Because if they didn't, they wouldn't come to you, and they wouldn't buy from you, and they wouldn't invest in you, and they wouldn't talk about you so positively to others. So those are the 6 points. What are we on? We're on almost sort of like half an hour now, but I felt as though I really needed to give you that detail, because it's in a really emotive subject, is filming videos. There's a lot of fear behind it. There's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of questions about the content, the setup, ourselves as well. So I hope that those 6 key points really help you. And what I'll do is I will create a separate post as well. So you've got a written post, so you can refer back to it as well. In a quicker format than watching the video again. But I really do hope that they've helped. But if I were to offer one last piece of advice, and here's a bit of sort of like tough love as well. Video isn't going away. I said that at the start of the video. Sometimes you've just got to dive in and do it. And I think it was Michelle that left a wonderful comment on Karen's post and said, sometimes you've got to hold your nose and just dive in. And she's right. I can give you the tips, the tools, I can coach you through it on a one-to-one session. But at the end of the day, I can't make you sit down and start filming. That action, that go-getter vibe is entirely in you. And sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and you just got to dive right in. And your first video, you may well think is really pants. But do you know what? You will have done your first video at that point, and it won't be as bad as you think. And people will love seeing you in video. And once you've done it once, you'll know what to expect, and it'll be that bit easier when you do your second one. And then when you do your second one, you'll build up that bit more confidence and experience, and you'll think, oh, I'll do less of that, more of this. And then your third one will be like, you'll be smashing it, and so on and so on. and there you go. You'll be in your video vibe groove. I reassure you of that. The only way you're gonna get to that point is by diving in and just doing it. So yeah, I really do hope that those 6 points were of great value to you, and that I start to see a lot more video content from you as well. Feel free when you create a video content, tag me in that. Hit either here in Facebook or on Instagram if you start off with Instagram stories. But taking my own advice, my last action point for you is to be able to, if once you watch the video, please comment on it. Has it been of use? Did you enjoy it? What have you taken from it? What are you going to do knowing that these 6 key points? What challenge are you setting yourself? And if it's the case that you do want a more bespoke session on video content, and you want a little bit more hand-holding, you want a little bit more reassurance, you want some help with the type of content that you should be creating for videos, then drop me a message, pop a comment down below, and let's arrange a coffee and a chat and get a one-to-one booked in. But for now, I'm going to leave it there. And lucky you, I didn't fall asleep in this video, and hopefully neither did you watching it. But whatever you do after watching this video, I hope you have a wonderful time, and I shall see you all very, very soon. Bye now.